Boom. So basically, my role is to be a cebador, and what that means is I prepare the mate. I take care of making sure that all the little stems and the particles are consumed by me, so that in the circle we can all just enjoy a smooth flowing, good tasting yerba mate experience. So we shake it, and then we create a little montañita, little mountain, and then we add some cold water, because this yerba mate has been sleeping for 2 years minimum, and when we put cold water, we awaken it gently.
Dope.
With the same tenderness that you carry your dog, right?
Yeah.
And the metaphor being is, if you're asleep and you get woken up with hot water, it's not going to be a good day. But if you get waken up with cold water, it startles you, but it activates you in a positive way. Same with water that is cool before we add the hot water. And you know, I put some water and it already went down because it's starting to drink. So the metaphor here is we give before we get. A lot of times we want to give, and that's not the healthiest of paradigms, especially when we're in nature, right? We got to give to receive. And this is how yerba mate culture helps our younger generation physically comprehend the concept and put it into a daily practice. Because for me, and what I've discovered is life is a daily practice. How I show up and share is how I show that I care. And that's the poetry with which I make the offer now, because when I drink now, it's from a full cup, because the plant already consumed what it needs, and the water level doesn't go down. So that's telling me the plant is now communicating with me. It's letting me know I'm full and I'm ready to give. So then I add a little more water and I make the offer. And you drink it until the air passes through the bombilla, and that gives me the cue to get ready to serve again. You don't say thank you until you're absolutely done. In the meantime, you express gratitude and that feeling of gratitude with your eyes, a smile, and just feel gratitude that you have the permission to simply receive, bro. And that in and of itself is a gift, because we find it difficult sometimes in life to receive. We forget that we are worthy to receive. That in and of itself is transformational, and that's how yerba mate has supported me enter into a state of peace, presence, and personal reconciliation with the world and within me. So now it is my gift to give a pathway towards peace and inner reconciliation that I have found. So from my overflowing cup, I give. And that's where we begin. You know, what's your story of your path towards personal peace and reconciliation? And we get to experience that journey with yerba mate. And so this is the beginning.
Gotcha.
Perfectly on cue with the rooster.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's smooth. That's way smoother than other yerba mates I've had.
Yeah. So this yerba mate comes from the collective of over 100 farmers in Paraguay that have come together as a community to put together their resources in one harvesting facility. And from that facility, they distribute it around the world. It's organic, fair trade, it's got all the right labels, and the soul and the spirit of the families within this plant are held in that process, because we over here get to send them the resources that they need to protect the land. This yerba mate is grown under the shade of the trees in its natural environment, and it's not being exploited. There's no pesticides. It's family harvested, family operated, women led. This cooperative is actually very egalitarian by design, because women nurture, men provide, protect, and create the space for the woman to thrive in their natural nurturing space, which is what yerba mate culture teaches us, right? The container is masculine, the plant is feminine, and the feminine plant provides the life we inspire. And that's the journey.
Well, most indigenous cultures, our original cultures, were matriarchal.
100%.
That's how it's supposed to be. The Arawak culture. That's moving.
So your path to plants. Where are we now in your space here?
So we're in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. This is my family's farm. It's been family for 50 years. And my path to plants came from technology. So even though I've been here on this farm my entire life, used to come back anywhere from 1 to 3 times every year, help my abuelo take avocado off the trees and stuff like that. But I never got the chance to actually get my hands dirty and plant with him. We always enjoyed the fruits of his labor in collaboration with Mother Earth. It wasn't until I moved to Ireland 2019 to stay to create a film called Mighty SF4. My brother and I lived here while taking care of my father, and we spent time here like maintaining that, but a lot of the stuff we did was on the road creating this film about life after Hurricane Maria, and how that came into fruition. So that film is about we talked about this, about the idea of, came in there with the idea after Hurricane Maria that Puerto Rico needed more help. The media, America wasn't covering enough. Came at it at an angle that was very angry, and I wanted to get this story out, and I wanted Puerto Rico to get the help she needed, that I thought she needed. And then as we started making the film, we just asked questions, and it organically changed itself and went through a metamorphosis of that anger into peace and celebration of born again to people, of how the people here saved the island and help her come back to, it'll never be 100%, but it's transformation, it's evolution. And then it took us about 6 months initially, 6-7 months to film. Then the manifestations happened. My brother went back to the States. I continued to film and ended up finishing it in about March of 2020. Went through a film festival circuit virtually because of pandemic and all that. And then a little bit after that, I decided to stay on the land. I was like, I want to start trying to grow. Ended up going plant based, and that's where my own personal healing journey started. But as much as I tried to work with the land, I was doing it, excuse my language, like half-assed. So every time I would start planting tomatoes, cucumbers, whatever, all the simple plants, I would end up getting a gig as a photographer or videographer over in the States, fly over to New York or whatever other state, and work and get money over there for big gigs, and end up landing one of the biggest gigs in my life, where I did a Times Square billboard in New York, a virtual moving magazine cover. It was huge. That ended up working, and then that led me to work with a celebrity hairstylist, and both those projects were just so toxic. It was so toxic. It burnt me out. It was the one thing that finally burnt me out, and I went from the last 7, 8 years of photography, working, doing concerts. I was mainly a concert photographer. So I was sleeping 4 hours a day for like 7 years, give or take, and recovering here and there, but it was never healthy. And then this was the final thing that
broke your back.
Oh man. And it was from there, like, came back to the island, and I decided to delve into really cultivating a relationship with Mother Earth. And from there, and this is the rushed version of this story because it's huge, ended up aligning with the right people who were already on this path, who were very, very graciously, I was able to learn from them, meet elders who were doing this, who passed on knowledge, and then by trial and error.
It's like the phrase, when the student is ready, the teachers will appear.
100%. It's about.
So you got to live that truth.
It's literally the, whether you want to call it the law of attraction. I believe in, you're a magnet, and when you're ready and you're fortifying your magnetism, then the right people will come to you.
Yeah.
But you got to be doing the right thing. You got to be sure what you want.
In alignment.
You got to be in alignment.
Clear.
Exactly. And then that's when this started, and I basically went on sabbatical from my career as a photographer, videographer, about 1.5 years, closing in almost 2 years. And we're talking anywhere from 5 hours to 12-hour days, non-stop working this land, transforming it. My Wello did an amazing job here. During while he was alive, the land just needed a little more amendment to the soil to make it softer. It's very clay. There's a lot of salt in the air, so it's figuring out how to work with that, because it's not like YouTube. You can't just go YouTube. You can't just YouTube, how to plant a garden here, because every soil is different. You watch these YouTube videos of people being able to make a garden bed with a shovel. You'll break a shovel on this. This clay is so hard, it'll break shovels. It's like, and through it, sustained a lot of injuries, but created a lot of love, man. Not only cultivating food, but cultivated love, and started walking a path in alignment with Mother Nature. And without it sounded too hippie, but you really find yourself working with her. It's beautiful, man. I really found myself working with.
No, what a beautiful segue to work with her, with her divinity. So in that, I celebrate and I pass the mate there. Breathe in her love. Yerba mate culture literally allows me to be able to participate in the same feeling, and I also celebrate with you that same feeling of working with her, because I got to experience my equivalent of your journey in Hawaii, where I got to ask the same questions of myself, of the land, and listen. So while you were embarking on that path, I was embarking on my path. And the beauty of this for me as I sit in this moment with Mate is to recognize that she is working through us, bodies, souls, for the greater good of achieving that love, that feeling of love. There's no greater feeling than that feeling. And that's the feeling of life itself. And purpose is to share that feeling for me. That's my conclusion. That's where I find peace, presence with plantitas that provide the reconciliation, the pathway towards us. So my curiosity now takes me to where are you going? You know, we're going to be experiencing your film in the next week, and this has opened up a door for both of us, right? And for the many people we get to touch, perhaps not directly, but vicariously through awareness and education. So I'm curious to see and hear your inspiration.
So it's very funny because it's two different hats, right? It's the film director hat, and then we have the baba, the hibaro straw hat, right? So the film was inspired by, actually before I go in that, you said that you said embarking, and I thought of embarking because we plant trees here, so I'm working with debark, and yeah, and just to go a little bit onto the planting, it's like it's creating a lot of people believe in they take from Mother Nature, you know, and like without ever giving back to her. And this relationship that I learned from working the land was really those 12-hour days, and it never felt like work because I was giving, continue to give to this, and it's just a fraction, it's just a drop in the ocean, the amount of energy I'm giving to this earth that's constantly giving. And I'm not alone. There's hundreds of other thousands, hopefully millions, billions of other people who plant plants back into the earth, plant trees. As much giving can be as simple as taking trash off of her when you go somewhere, you know, and putting love, hugging a tree, putting your energy back in as you receive. And this land has been very healing, and through healing is relearning, you know. And a lot of this journey with the finca has been loving this land, and that's where we came up with the brand Land of Love. Me and my past partner, about the idea of that's how you move forward. That's how you move forward through any opposition, any obstacles that come through your ways. You can get through it with love, with positivity, with
presence.
Yeah, and presence.
Being present
and
to what is, and the plants provide.
And they provide medicine. You know?
The medicine.
And a lot of what we do here on the farm is medicinal, and it's relearning. One, for us, first it starts with us relearning how to heal yourself when things go wrong, and then also just not talking the talk, it's walking the walk. So it's like when you do get sick, when you have a cough, when you have runny nose, allergies, etc., X, Y, and Z, it's like, how do I heal my body, and then I can pass that information on. And it's nothing new. It's just retouching to our ancestral. Exactly, it's remembering. It's tapping into your DNA, and listening to the elders and having an open ear is like not blocking out these messages, because when you're open, everything you need to know will come to you. And
Amen to that.
yeah, right.
When you're open, everything comes to you. And the great travesty, the great perversion I have been in observation of is how systems seek to block the soul of a person from being open to receive source wisdom. And the greatest joy of my life now in this moment is to simply be the space holder to provide a pathway for a person to have the curiosity to open up a little bit and see the light within themselves to say, oh, whoa, I didn't know that there was something behind this curtain. Let me dig a little deeper. Let me dig in the ground a little deeper and see what seeds are beneath here. Let me take out some of the weeds. Let's let the light shine on the soil so that the soul can surface from the source that we all come from.
Like you said, there systems that have been put in play are blocking us from both the soul and the soil. You know, the above and below. And it's literally, it's just remembering. It's just remembering. A lot of our ailments come from lack of vitamin D. Just go outside and not just go outside, but having the time to be able to go outside. And a lot of people unfortunately have to work like a 9 to 5, some weird hours, and depending on what part of the states you are, you might not see the sun for months. Like really be able to have an hour of sunlight.
Yeah.
We live in concrete jungles, right? And right now I'm lucky enough I'm having this conversation barefooted and my feet are touching the soil, like every morning I get to walk on Mother Earth barefooted,
Yeah.
And it's easier for some people, but it's like entrepreneurship, right? Like one of my favorite quotes was about entrepreneurship, but it's also about just life in general, is you take that leap of faith, you jump off the cliff and you build the plane on the way down, so
you build the wings on the way down.
Yeah.
You're barefoot, so the soles of your feet are on the soil that is informing your soul.
Yeah, you're taking in downloads. You're healing. There's so many pressure points on your feet that just by it'll continue to keep you healthy just by walking barefoot.
That exchange of information between our body and the ground that grounds us, anchors us, and not allows us to get lost in this, that, and the other distraction.
And incorporating it into your daily practices. And the systems at play do a really good job of desensitizing and oversensitizing certain healing practices. And now everybody, you go on TikTok or something like that, and everybody's talking about, oh, I'm grounding, oh, I'm earthing, and it's like, just walk.
Yeah.
Ingest this medicine to yourself.
Ingest this medicine. Yeah.
Salud.
So we sip, savor, and satiate the soul. As simple as life is simple. We make it complicated. The mind makes it complicated because the mind is a infinite meaning-making machine that's always looking for things to fix, and it's just simply be.
Well, a lot of that too is because of the systems at play, right? Like the machine or whatever you want to call it is constantly giving us things to be stimulus, constantly looking for that next dopamine fix, create anxieties, and like when you live, they're pushing you to either live in the past or in the future. And when you're able to be present, a lot of those things don't exist.
That's why I love to celebrate and share un momento con mate.
Mm-hmm.
A moment with mate. Because this is all that we got. Literally. one moment, here and now. And every moment is a beginning. It's a gateway into a new choice. Because from here, from this table of creation, we get to divert and practice the choices of this conversation or this choice, and just reaffirm and get firm in our speech and our path. And for me, sharing this culture, this plant, is a practice of reaffirming and returning, reminding, remembering my body to source wisdom. And in this process, I am very clear and very grateful to be working with you to collaborate in nurturing this energy of remembrance with our land, the common ground we all stand upon. And remember, wait, we are all standing on the same ground. Like, let's focus on the common ground and recognize that we have greater commonality than we do different. And that's the invitation. That's the path towards peace and personal reconciliation. And for me, as a person of Spanish heritage, Spanish ancestry, being in Puerto Rico ignited ancestral memories of when Europe's consciousness broke into the gates of this North and South American consciousness. I mean, through the Puerto Rico, like, this is where a whole new consciousness of exploitation, extraction, and exportation of the resources began. I mean, it literally was funneled through Puerto Rico. So when I first came, a lot of feeling started to feel. And I realized that the path for my personal peace begins here, because this is the gateway of my ancestry. And I was gifted with the plant that was gifted to the Spanish in Paraguay as a symbol of peace, community, and unity. Those two cultures came together. In Paraguay, the Guarani culture and the Spanish culture are equally recognized officially. And that, to me, is a symbol of what's possible when we focus on her divinity, the nature of the plant, to provide people that are in divergence and just distraction, to say, oh, let's both agree that we can come together and explore a possibility from there. So now I'm here in Puerto Rico, having my own personal healing journey, and clearly bringing what feels true, real, and alive to provide a pathway that I have seen and experienced within my own body. And I recognize you as a talented person that is a man doing the thing for the greater good of life, not just here in your abuelo's stewarded land, but for everyone else to remember and return and turn the page of what was, because what was no longer is. And yeah, I recognize first to recognize that we all do what we do for love, and we're all just doing what we were programmed to do. Sometimes it's harmful, but we do it because we have a family to take care of. We feel that love for family. We feel that love for life, and sometimes we express it. People express it. I have expressed it in harmful ways, and it's again about going back to that peace and reconciliation. I recognize it. Yeah, my ancestors did some shitty shit. But you know what? I have the choice to promote peace with a sense of awareness and say, let's go forward in a different way. Because life is infinite and we're here to explore possibilities. So I personally am very thankful for having the privilege, the coincidence of having the algorithm of technology bring me to you to have this conversation of creation.
I always say, the universe is way too vast for anything to happen by coincidence.
Right? So my brother, from another mother, from
technically the same mother.
I offer this in peace so that we may reconcile and move forward with that.
The last bit to tie everything in. We talked about the documentary, and the documentary was an act of, they're all forms of revolution. So it's an act of acting on land and the rights to our land, and how, I guess it was about celebrating the resilience of the people. But it was also told through the lens of how the rights to our lands were constantly being stripped. And later in the documentary, we were fortunately and unfortunately, right? It's unfortunate that we have to continue to fight, but it was fortunate to be able to capture on camera how the people of Borinquen were able to overturn Ricky Rosselló, the governor, two governors back before Ronda and Berlusi, and we caught that on film. Then what we're doing here is another act of revolution. It's food sovereignty, and more than anything, what we strive to be here. Like I said, I'm not doing anything different. I'm not doing anything new. This has all been done before. We're tapping into ancestral knowledge, but it's reminding to newer people of the diaspora, Boricuas that left, that you can come back. That it's possible to grow your own food, and if one person can do it on a small piece of land in their one community, we can promise for just a couple families that they're able to eat organically, that you can certify that a family could be certain that their food doesn't have pesticides, harmful chemicals. It's being made with love. What the difference, have you ever had a meal when your mom tells you, she's like, I made this with love, and how does that feel? And now imagine if each community had local growers, local farmers, whatever you want to call us, heroes or people, giving you food that you know for sure came with love. It's all an act of revolution. It's all an act of resilience, and both the act of growing your own food and food sovereignty, and joy. Joy is revolution. And the system that we're constantly put to be oppressed, constantly told to work this 9 to 5, and we're told about, a lot of our people are suffering from depression, or suffering from anxiety, suffering from all different types of mental ailments. When you can sit and be at peace and find joy in any moment, that in itself is revolution.
Ain't that the truth? The truth cannot be silenced.
Yes, sir.
Salud.
Salud.
Salud to la vida. Salud to you, to wherever you may be, and to whomever this touches. And mahalo, brother. Great love, great gratitude.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. What beautiful peacekeeping. Just watchful.
Man, she is definitely connected, man.
Oh, I feel it, 100%.
The first
100%.
time, I used to be scared of dogs, because growing up on the island, you know, I came to this house. You walk to the panaderia or wherever,
Yeah.
and the panaderia, the camalo, and as you walk, everybody has their gates open. They might have a dog. The dog chases you because you don't know him. I got chased by so many dogs growing up, man, to the point when my brother brought her home. Bro, I was scared of her. And then learned to cultivate a beautiful relationship with her. And when my pops passed, bro, I go to lay down, and it was the first time she ever slept with me. She jumped onto the bed. Yep, Nina jumped onto the bed, laid at the foot of the bed with me the whole time. That's comforting. First time she ever jumped in the bed.
That's how you know. That's how you know. That's how
Them
I've
in
come to
tune.
know. You know, I know God exists because I see God in those ways.
100%, man.
You know, I know God exists because I walk into a restaurant and I see someone that logically makes no sense that they be there. You know what I mean? I know God exists because 30 minutes before I came to your spot, I asked, where do I go? I didn't know where I was gonna sleep, but I came to the right place and I had the right conversation at the right time, and I never questioned. It was just pure peace. I made a prayer. I'm here to listen, and it's just, I know God lives. I know God is. I know God is real. Like, it is a full body infusion.
100%, man.
And I get to play with plants in the garden to be able to see life. I mean, that's the lens by which, wow.
The
We
whole
know.
idea- How can you deny that the Most High is here when you look at, you can watch this tree right here. During the last Hurricane Fiona, I watched it die. It got pulled out by its roots. It fell over. I took it out. From the roots, she came back. Like, you can watch plants die, or the idea, bro. The closest thing to us being connected to the Most High, to me, is like when you plant a seed, or when a woman gives birth. The idea of creation out of nothing. The idea that this plant, this coconut, was a seed. This coconut palm that's giving us fruit was a seed. This mango tree, what's that, 30, 40 feet up?
Yeah.
Came from a seed. No bigger than, what, 2-3 inches. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Magic. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's undeniable. And the the thing that always now brings me back to the joy of, like, recognizing what the game of life is, and that people are seeking to distract you. Oh no, no, money, 9 to 5, work.
Yeah, man.
That joy thing? No.
Hustle culture.
I mean, it's hilarious that I recognize that being joyful and happy is the definition of insanity. You tell somebody, I'm happy, man. Dude, what's wrong with you? Are you alright? Why are you so happy? Dude, are you... What?
Yeah, you on drugs, or you on, like...
Yeah, it's called life, bro.
Yeah.
The drug of life.
How
But
many
that
times?
is insanity. You show up as happy, giving, loving, caring. There's something wrong with you. What have we done to our hearts?
Bro, being solution oriented, bro. How many times were we close friends or family who are going through a hard time, and they're like confiding in you and talking about their problem, and you're like, bro, have you thought about that? Nah, I don't want to do. And every time you try to come at them with either a way to just be positive, go out, like tell them go meditate, go for a walk, do something that's gonna bring you back to peace. It's like they're almost blocking that to stay inside of their the misery that they're going through.
The
You have
prison.
to let that go. Let that go. Let it flow. It doesn't mean it's gonna be. It doesn't mean it's gonna be easy and it's gonna be solved right then and there.
Right.
But if we stay in that problem mindset, we're just creating a cycle.
100%.
How do you break that cycle? You gotta look for the key for that door for that cell.
May this be a key and a pathway to breaking that cycle of vicious separation. Because now, if nothing else in life, we got one thing in common, which is the shared experience of life by way of this vessel. That's how it began in Paraguay. When the Guarani shared, I don't know your language, you're for all intents and purposes, a complete alien with shiny metal and no language connection, but they shared. They say, I choose to share, and they share, and both live, both consciences live. Now, to say that there was no blood and there was no pain is naive. There always will be blood, there always will be pain, but it is the process by transformation. Like, there is pain in a seed's breaking through. A seed has to break through, and we get to break through too. I didn't get to this peace and presence and awareness without breaking myself and crying and opening myself and going through that, making that choice. Yeah, I mean, a lot of wisdom has said that the gateway to heaven is through the eye of a needle or something like that, you know.
My favorite one is a tree can't reach the heavens while its roots reaching the hell.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that, and that's truth. And the trunk is the center. You know, we get to, this is our core, this is our trunk. So we must recognize that we need polarity for purpose. Otherwise, we just are existence, formless. We are darkness. We are light. The gift is in between the center, the core, the trunk, the here now. And the choice. We have that free will choice.
yes, sir.
So, yeah, man.
That's wild. It tastes so much better. One cold. I've always had it hot.
This is tereré. This is cold mate. So it's a smoother infusion. It's subtle release of it's more mineral release. Antioxidants, theobromine is good for this because it allows us to.
Yeah, it's more mellow.
Yeah.
The other one I had was like a caffeine hit. Like,
Yeah.
And it was cool. Like, even though it was highly caffeinated, I still felt clearer than when I drink coffee.
100%. And that's why this is plant medicine in its own right.
I gotta get seeds.
Yeah, it grows here. It can grow here.
I bet it's tropical.
Yep. It grows in Hawaii as well. So, man, I feel good. I feel real good. I feel it just landed. I feel landed. I feel grounded. Yeah, brother. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you, bro.
This is the beginning. This is the beginning. Thank you for being a part of my beginning and to where the journey takes us.
Exactly.
To where she takes us.
The sitting and literally food is just.
This is the Garden of Eden. This is the garden.
It's a
The
small,
heaven
small
on earth.
piece of paradise, bro.
Sometimes I feel like this is, when you work with, you're on drugs. I feel like I'm on drugs. And I was like, man, we're just looking at nature.
I know people are like, oh, what's wrong with us? It's like, no, I'm just. Bro.
What's in this cup?
Yeah, right.
It's just life, man. Life in a cup.
It's all about like the mindset, right? The mindset when you switch to welcome with gratitude, bro. Like gratitude, everything. Be appreciative of everything, bro. That's the mindset that changed when I moved here and started work. Not after I moved here and started working on the land. It's choosing love in everything I do, and it sounds so like it's got co-opted to be so like hippie or whatever you want to call it. But it's like, no, bro. Like I'll sit and put a plant, or as I meditate and I see like something growing next to me, I'll thank it. You know, I go into nature and going on a hike, and it's like I'll see a plant that I recognize and thank her, or touch a tree and thank her for holding space. Food, bro. Literally, like if you're hungry, you could come out here and make something, bro.
Yeah.
And just the idea of plants are doing so much for us without us even being conscious of what they're doing for us. Sunflowers, like you plant a sunflower, sunflowers are taking toxins out of the soil, and then you plant something later on in your soil, let's say pumpkin or something. That pumpkin is growing more organically because this sunflower is just doing the job. It's pure.
It's just living out its purpose.
Yeah.
So we get to learn and love and from the plants. I feel like for me at least, being a human is a privilege of recognizing the love we come from. Like, I am a planetary person, and we are plant people. We are what we eat, and we are in that reflectory relationship. Like, oh, I am a plant. The plant is love. I am love because I eat plants. I am that.
And I'm alive, right?
And I'm alive, and what a gift.
I'm
I
alive
feel gratitude.
because I'm eating things that are alive.
Yeah. Instead of processed. I mean the
you,
word itself, when you kill an animal, you process it. It's called process, right?
I mean, but same thing. You can be vegan or vegetarian and still eat processed foods. That's no better, if not worse, than like a meat that was taken care of. You know. So there's both sides. Like, I'm not one of those people who, even though I choose to be from like 95% of my diet to be from Mother Earth, like plants.
Yeah.
I'm not against anybody who's eating real, like, not processed meat.
Right. It's in the way we show respect and show life.
When you eat, like, if you're gonna eat meat, make sure, like, whether it's halal or kosher, that when it was killed, it wasn't in pain. It didn't live a life of anxiety. It didn't, because when you kill an animal that's been in pain and trapped and captured his whole life, you're taking in all of that.
That resonance, that energy, that vibration, because it's not created nor destroyed. It's just transferred.
100%.
So it's about purifying the body so that the mind can feel safe to connect with the soul. Boom.
And the other side of that too. Is like, all right, this plant isn't in confinement or captured, but it has pesticides. It's same 100%. Thing. Is it being grown with love? And that's what I care about more. Like, whatever I'm gonna put into my body, as much as possible, because we're confined with where we can get X amount of food, and we're also confined with, economically, what can you really afford?
Right.
But the best way to
combat that. Growing food also flips the script on the paradigm, because I'm looking at money all around. Now, money grows on trees, because if I eat that and I eat this and I harvest that means I'm not having to go to the grocery store and trade my time for pieces of paper so that I can buy and spend that money on what is right there. Feel me?
Exactly.
So that's a paradigm that we have the possibility of rewiring, reprogramming, and then just work in community to collaborate, because I can't make a film like you. But I've been growing food my whole life since I was 5 years old. I always like to say either I was pulling weed or I was planting weed. And we ate from those weeds.
Yes, sir. And that's the thing too, is recognizing so many people are like, oh, that's a weed. That's
food.
That's food. That's a normal, bro. That's, you know, like, it's not just, it's to you it's a weed because you haven't relearned.
You forgot.
A lot of it isn't learned. Exactly, you forgot. None of this is new to most people of indigenous or melanated skin or whatever you want to call it. This is all in our DNA. You just gotta activate that, man.
I mean, think about it. I mean, the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings, they forgot too, bro. They forgot of their ancestral Celtic, Druidic ancestry.
I mean, bro, the Irish and Scottish were master growers in their own right too.
100%. And to grow in the Nordic nations, that you have to have a lot of deep connection because you got a small time frame. Which I understand, man. It's like some point somebody said, man, I'm tired of growing in the north. Let's just go down to Spain and Italy and go a little south and take from them. They got a lot. They get, you know. I get it. So we just got to remember where we come from, which is la tierra.
Mm-hmm.
And la hierba, mate, right? The hierba is food. And that's where the compassion comes in. Because we all just forgot, bro.
Just getting back to that, man.
And we got to reconcile with peace because we just forgot. And that's the pathway. That's the pathway forward for me. That's the choice. That's the way. It's like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It is the way.
This is the way, yeah.
This is the way. This and is the way.
Yeah, man. Last month, between fasting and eating as much from here, was the least I've spent on groceries. From being able to have a bana almost every couple of days and mango when I'm doing fast. It's awesome.
And your body is healthy, your mind is clear, and you probably feel good.
Yeah.
Happy.
100%.
Joy. And that's okay. That's the purpose. And now we get to share this story.
Yeah, man.
Well, let's go do the thing. Let's work on your land, man. What do you need? What you got? What time is it?
It's 10:05, so I gotta go pick up some mushroom substrate, which we use for,
Turn off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I gotta go pick up some mushroom substrate. Well, I'm gonna feed the chickens now.